We can always find the beginning of the show. This is it.
Exactly.
All right, read it.
Exactly. All right. So just got this email that pops up. Hi there. I want you to tell me whether or not this is real, scam, whatever you want. Hi there. It's me again. My client lives in, city out of it, and would like your help with a home remodel, drawing and design project. The project is 4 miles from you. Please let me know if you're willing to chat about this project. So it goes further, and it says, budget unspecified.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
That's why
That's a great.
Yeah, they want to talk to you
good
first.
start.
Yeah.
That's full project description. We're looking to remodel that will require major renovations, kitchen, master bath, laundry, primary downstairs bathroom, and a wing that will have a guest bedroom and bath, which will need a tear down. I'm not sure if they're tearing something down and building it back. Looking for estimates to draw plans.
I'm surprised it didn't say blueprints.
Yes.
We need someone to draw blueprints.
Please fax me your
quote. How'd they get your email? You're moonlighting, aren't you? You haven't told me that you're okay. First of all, you are
right.
Moonlighting. You're reading email when we're recording. Okay, so number 1, strike. All right. Number 2.
Well, that's not moonlighting. That's just not paying attention to you.
Yeah. What's new? But you've got to have an ad on Thumbtack or Craigslist or something, because you're soliciting for architectural services here, and you're getting inquiries. I mean, this is small firms would love this. You got to tell us how you're doing it.
I'm assuming, just seems like, BuildZoom. The customer success is built from, apparently they got in touch with me through BuildZoom. I don't even know what BuildZoom
Somebody
is.
scraped your email from the Detroit AIA. That's what I'm thinking.
But I will say that looking at the zip code, it's actually something in my old area.
Oh, okay.
So they're scraping it from the AIA that used to be.
Yeah.
Not the one that I belong to now.
I don't like it when I use a web browser and I go to a site and it immediately says that this site has been involved, like a notification pops up. This site has been involved in a data breach. You need to change your password. And it's something like an AIA website, or I'm not saying that is, but this happens a lot.
Maybe I should just navigate away from this.
Yeah, just back. I can't hit back fast enough.
Yeah.
Gotta get out of there.
My favorite ones are when you go onto a website, you're looking for product data, and you can't even get into like this until you start like giving them your personal information. No. So apparently I might have gone to BuildZoom to look for some product data.
Whatever that is, you were there. Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Because you needed something, and you're the captive audience at that point.
Although what I like about it is it's, hi there, it's me again. It's not hi there, Cormac, or Mr. Phalen, or Phalen Architect, whatever. It's just hi there.
And it's me again.
We're friends.
We've already talked. We've already chatted. I mean, this is the second time, so you're more likely to respond this time, right? Because I'm... Yeah.
Well, guess what, Mr. Should I say his name out loud?
Yeah, let's
Mr.
provide the
Jack
email address
Cookson, Jack Cookson from BuildZoom.com.
There you go.
We're not friends.
Yeah. Remind me who you are again.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, if you need some entertainment, you might reply.
Actually, what's even interesting, so here you go. The email is from one person, but it's signed from someone else. That's not shady, right?
I feel even better about this now. Yeah. Definitely inspires confidence.
Reply all.
Right. Is there more than one email address on there?
how about this? It's like, hey there, it's me. Instead of it's me again, it's me. I'll respond back to them exactly that. Like, hey, it's me, y'all.
Hey, so glad to hear from you. I have a confession to
Gosh.
make. I feel a little dirty here, Cormac. Do you know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm about to confess to you?
Mm-mm.
I bought a new computer.
Oh, yeah.
I feel a little dirty. I I
It's
I bought a Windows computer.
a Windows. So it's not just a PC. This is actually
Hmm.
a Windows make.
Well,
This is from
this
Microsoft.
this is a
But I mean,
Microsoft machine. Yes. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It
Yeah.
is a Microsoft machine.
Which is pretty much like the
It is.
most expensive Windows computer you could probably get anyway, right? So, yep,
Oh, you see that? Oh,
there it
oh,
is.
oh.
There it is. And I can't hold mine up because I'm using it right now.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, welcome to the dark side.
I, the, I feel a little dirty because I'm cheating on my here. I'll hold up my here's
Your Mac.
here's what I'm cheating on right here.
Hi,
Yeah.
Mac.
Yeah, and this is a couple
So-
of years old now at this point, but it's been a great machine. So
So the new school that my wife teaches at, they issued out them all laptops, and she gets a brand new, still sealed in the box, iMac Pro, and she's like, "I know how to use this." All right, come on, let me show you how to use it. I was just like I was telling you the other day when I knew that you were getting this. It's just like you retrain your brain to think everything the opposite of, it's just like you don't look for properties, you get info, or vice versa.
Oh, right. I can't get info on a thing anymore. I have to right click and go to properties.
You don't press the red dot on. Yeah, you don't press the red dot on the left side. You press the X on the right side.
The scrolling is even different when I'm using a mouse, right? The trackpad is exactly the same, but the mouse was different. I actually had to install the mouse driver. I didn't just go with the basic Windows driver so that I could flip the scrolling. And people who are Windows users are probably like screaming at this right now, like what are you talking about? Because everybody who goes from Windows to a Mac wants to flip it the other direction. But I'm so used to the Mac, I flipped the scroll wheel on the mouse just so that I could be more like my Mac.
So, the funny thing is that when we were recording everything off of Mac, that'd be, PC by day, Mac at night.
Mm-hmm.
I was always trying to Macify my PCs.
Mm-hmm. Now you just give it up completely, right?
Yeah. And since we've gone to an online platform for recording, editing, and everything else, I just can go ahead and keep
all PC all
PC
the time.
by day, PC all night. Yeah, exactly. All PC all the time.
Right.
And it just makes it a lot easier so that my brain doesn't have to recalibrate itself. It's just, okay, wait, which one do I want to do?
Yeah.
Thing.
And you don't have to maintain more than one computer anymore. Like that is actually a big mental burden, I'll say, at our advanced age. Other youngsters are like, whatever. Like that's not a big deal to me. But it's just one more thing to have to deal with on top of all of our other responsibilities. And I can use less responsibilities at this point, not more.
So your new fancy Windows Surface Pro laptop, right?
Let me tell you the name of this thing. Let me tell you the name of this thing because I thought that the naming might be better than the mess we've seen from Apple for the last 10 years with there's like the MacBook Pro M2 Ultra Max or the iPhone 15 Pro Max. There's all these very amazing words that have to get stuffed on the end of everything. It's no different in the Windows world. So Microsoft Studio Laptop 2. It's something like that. It's
okay.
It's because you have like the Surface laptop, right? and I have the Surface laptop
Yes.
or the Surface Studio laptop 2 because
Well,
I,
yeah,
I
that,
I have the new one that just came out because I was waiting for that one specifically to come.
so I have the Surface laptop. You have the Surface laptop.
Yes, and it's the Studio one where the screen flips down
Yes.
over the keyboard, easel
Yep.
style. And I did get
Yeah.
the Slim Pen 2 as well, which another ridiculous name for a stylus. And so you can actually draw right on the screen. And the only reason I bought this machine, Cormac, it's not because I'm interested in switching to Windows. It's not because I want to run Revit. I just have a project coming up where it will make more sense if I run the Windows version of a certain piece of software, which I'm not going to name right now because this project is up and coming, and I'll announce it when it's time.
Top secret.
I'm not there yet though. So, but that's the only reason I bought it, and because I want to draw on the screen. And so, going from 2 devices to 1, actually in this kind of a situation, I think is really nice. And I have to say, I am super happy with the responsiveness of drawing on the screen of this thing. I thought it wasn't going to be as good as the iPad. I do have an iPad Pro from a few years ago, which the tech behind the scenes has gotten better in the last few years, but it's not like I have zero complaints with the iPad Pro that I have. I thought it was not going to be as good, and it is. It's great. It's absolutely great. So I'm thrilled with that.
Actually, so I don't know if did I tell you this story? Did I share this story? It's like when they sent me my new computer because they couldn't update one piece of software, which really it was a piece of software that I don't use a lot, but it is something that they just couldn't, they're like, all right, well, we're just going to send you a new. And so we were using the ZBooks, the mobile workstation.
That's an HP.
And
is that correct?
That's an HP, yeah.
They have the corner on the letter Z. Hewlett Packard does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so then they're like, oh, well, we'll just send you a new computer. So, of course, I'm expecting one of the more updated versions of the Z. They've got ones, have touchscreen and all this other stuff. And so, which mine was still a touchscreen because it really wasn't that old. It was just something that they, for some reason, couldn't get, some of the software. Mm-hmm. So they send me it. I'm like looking at the box. The box isn't as big as I assumed it would be. So I was like, what did they send me? So I open it up and I see kind of this like silvery computer because they just basically, they pulled it out of the thing. It wasn't like, sealed in a box or anything like that. And they didn't send it in the Microsoft box.
Because
they just sent it.
They had to deploy all their software and they had to do all the setup for you before you even got it. Okay.
Yeah. And so they sent it to me. And so I see this shiny little thing that sort of looks like a Mac.
It totally looks like a
right?
Mac. It totally
exactly.
My son was like, he didn't even notice I got a new computer, and he's eagle-eyed for that kind of a thing. He didn't even notice. And my wife was like, "Oh yeah, I would have never known. I would have never known."
So they send it to me, but then I glance on the cover and I see the Windows symbol.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "What the?" Insert all of the.
So you had
the colorful metaphors,
preconceived ideas about the type of.
I was sort of giddy that they, it's like, could they have really sent me a Mac? I mean, they know that I like Macs and all, but could they have really sent me?
No, they could not.
No, they really couldn't. They really didn't. And so I get it, and I start acting like a little child. I'm like, I don't want this. This is just this. This is terrible. And I will admit, I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
And I've been using it, and I can have Revit open twice because we have 2 models for one project. And if I want to jump back and forth between them, it's better to open them up separately rather than opening them up together. And so I have 2 Revits running and all of these other things and a lot of different things that are typical memory hogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it actually runs fine.
Yeah, nice.
I don't really have too much complaint about it. It's lighter. It's far more mobile. I love the tablet application on it. The palm rejection, I'm surprised at how good it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
the
Being a lefty,
we
you have to put that in there because
exactly
it's a bigger deal
yeah
for lefties for sure.
it is.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it is that like when I'm doing ACE and I'm sitting down with the students and we're talking about stuff, and like we had done a couple of screen caps and we started drawing over. It's like, well, tell me, some of your ideas about like what you want to do with this project. And they're explaining their ideas, and I'm sort of sketching over the top of, the screen cap that we did because we're just visually talking through things. And their jaws are dropped. Oh, this is amazing.
This is what
And that's,
architects do. Oh, now they have this
exactly.
idea that this is what architects do. Did you tell them?
And,
Did you tell them they were going to be drafting toilet room detail, like
yeah.
door
So,
schedules? Yeah.
so you said that you got what was this, the stylus? The
Slim Pen 2 or whatever it is. It's like it's the one that it
Pen
actually
2.
magnetically sucks under the front lip of the machine to
Okay.
recharge and find a home.
Oh, yours does that. So
Yeah.
I have 2. You have the stylus 2.
Yes.
I have 2 stylus.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
And
flip the order there.
I'm gonna do you one better. Pull it out, and if you can see,
I can't see what that is. I'm like moving back
Have
because it's
you-
out of focus, but you need to get it closer to your face.
okay, so
It's not my glasses that are failing me. Oh, look it's a little Duracell battery.
it is a quadruple A battery.
Oh, I did not know that there was a thing.
I have never heard of a quadruple A battery before, but there is the existence, because here it is right here, folks, live and in person. Look, it's the size. Here, hold on, I'll do this. It's the size of an eyeball.
Captain Cormac right there. Captain Battery
Exactly.
Eye.
And it's interesting because it's just a little teeny thing, but I mean, even this, it really is pretty responsive. It's quick. It's surprise. So, yes, again, I would like to welcome you back to the dark side.
Well, I mean, it's a funny thing going back. And I have to say, like, this machine is what kind of convinced me that this was even going to be an option instead of trying to figure out what I want to do in the future between an iPad and a MacBook Pro. I wanted it all in one device. I wanted to be able to sketch right on top of the programs I'm going to be working in, basically, is what got me to this situation that I put myself into. And so this is like a 2-in-1 device, right? Being able to flip the screen out and pull it over the keyboard and draw right on it, not rip the screen off. I know that some of the first laptops, the screen was actually detachable. This one is not that, and I think there was many flaws. I knew people who had that version and they never took it off. It's like it's novel in the beginning, and they would detach it and take it to meetings and draw their notes and stuff on it. But then you kind of wished you had the keyboard sometimes, or you needed to plug it in or whatever. And so they just ended up never taking it off again and not really using that functionality. And I thought that's a really expensive machine to not have what you want out of it. And so this one, it just was convincing enough. It's a really powerful machine. It's to the nines on power. Obviously when you want to use all that, you got to keep it plugged in. So
Sure.
We'll see what happens with that. But that's the situation I'm going to be using it in anyway. It's amazing how a laptop is full on desktop replacement nowadays.
Yeah.
And as long as you use it in that, you kind of still have to use it in that. And that's what I think I'm going to miss most about switching. I don't plan on switching for everything, but the battery life on my MacBook Pro with the Apple Silicon so it's not the old Intel chips. There is no comparison. You can seriously use a MacBook all day long doing whatever you want without plugging it in, which is incredible. But at the same time, you can't run Revit on it because you can't even install Windows on them anymore, right? So you can't do a boot camp partition. You can't install Revit. You can't install whatever you want on the Windows side anymore. So that's a downside, and that's really why I started to go back this direction. So we'll see how this plays out. But I would love to hear people's recommendations for, if they do have any, if they're using a setup similar to this. The only thing that I've really done for drawing is I downloaded an app called Snagit, which is a paid app, and it basically allows you to, I'll do a lot more annotations over screenshots, which is what I need to be able to do in the future, in my future undisclosed project. So that to me is, of course, you could use the snipping tool and you can draw on that, but this one actually has a bunch of kind of like Bluebeam, a bunch of assets already in there that you can throw down, and it makes it a lot more effective as a teaching tool.
And today I was having a conversation with somebody after a meeting. One of our clients, we were sitting in a meeting, we were talking about a couple of different things, and we were like, well, we're really not quite sure if we can get it to work. And, wheels were turning in my head, thinking about potential ideas and all this other stuff. Everybody needed to go because he had already gone long, and so I really got to. So everybody goes, hey, can you guys, hang back for just a moment? Sure. So I was like, well, let me share my screen, sharing Bluebeam with the floor plans that we're, doing some alterations on. It might be an altercation too.
It could turn into that.
Depending on the cost, it could very well be an altercation. But so, they were asking for something that on paper, as we're looking through all the constraints, weren't quite sure we could get. And so I just little triple out battery pens here, and Bluebeam. I just started because for some reason, and here's where I get snobbish.
Yeah.
For some reason, somebody decided to do a Teams call. A Teams call.
Oh God, not that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a Zoomer.
You are.
Because I could draw on the screen without having to worry about it.
You can't do that in Teams yet?
No.
What?
You can take a screenshot of something, then bring it up, and then bring it into like
whiteboard or whatever.
Paint or white. Yeah. It's I was like, come on. We have now had 3 years of isolation and Teams call and Zoom calls and Teams. Couldn't Teams have at least just ripped that off?
What they assume you're going to do, I guess, is use the Microsoft Whiteboard app.
Go back to work.
Screen share that. So
yeah. But you
have to have a separate camera if you want to use this device and do that, right? If you want to stay on camera,
right? Because
the camera's in the screen that you're going to be laying out flat and drawing on, and so you're going to be looking at the ceiling.
It's like pointing. Right. Exactly. Here, hold on a minute.
This is the same company that makes all of this stuff. They make all the software and the connective software the hardware and the operating system and everything. You'd think they would kind of figure this out.
They make this laptop that you and I are talking about right now.
Right.
And there's just like the one thing is like, look, there are some quality things about like Teams as a inner
ecosystem. Kind of you got to use the right tech word here.
Sure. Okay, so it is a good ecosystem for things, and Teams is purely about like, let's have this conversation and stuff. But the thing that I love that is absolute value, and
as an architect, you got to put the asterisk.
As an architect,
yeah.
As an architect, sure, because I was about to complain about some of the fun meetings and stuff that we've been having. It's just okay if you're sharing your screen. Mm-hmm. I can draw over the stuff that you're sharing. Mm-hmm. All I have to do is hit the annotate tool and start drawing over. It's like, oh, well, what if we do this, and this, and just, sketch over the top of it and call it done.
Yeah.
Beautifully perfect. That's what we do. We visually communicate. It's just like, what do you think is a better solution? Like, well, here it's this, and then you're drawing, you're showing. It's like you ask for a solution. It's like when we pull out a, piece of trace, and we're, tracing something over the top of something else that we're drawing right in front of them. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what, that's what Zoom's all about.
Yeah.
So know if we had ever talked about some of the things that like you hear people still to this day, 3 years later of, is it 2.5, 3 years, whatever it is, 3 years, let's just call it 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years later of people doing these virtual meetings and stuff. And they're just like, I still can't figure this Zoom out. I'm like, you're on Zoom every day. How have you not figured it out yet? Or,
oh man,
can you hear me?
right.
You know, like, wait, oh, sorry, I was on mute. Like, come on, man. Like, you literally, we do this every day. I talk to you every day. You have not figured out that, or here, I'll give you an example. You haven't figured out that if you're on a Teams call, that when you pull up you're sharing your screen and you pull up your Zoom chat to talk crap about the person you're meeting with, that everybody could see it.
Right.
Not to say that I've been in a meeting where I'm frantically texting, I won't Zoom or Teams chat them.
Get it off the
computer. I will text them and say, get it off your screen now, please, quickly. Like,
right.
I'm embarrassed, or there in Teams, there used to be like this little pop-up that you can, it's just like, a little notification. So like right now I see that somebody for some reason sees that I'm on the computer and they just Zoom chatted right now at, this late hour.
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
Of course I won't interrupt our recording to answer that.
Right.
But it just gives me like just the little notification. It just, little red one that says that I've notification. But there used to be where it would pop up and there would be like the first few lines of what somebody says. And oh my Lord, have I sat through many a meeting where the first few lines are some of the most damning lines that you like.
Totally. You have to learn a whole new etiquette and communication style now that people are constantly sharing their screens, right?
And still 3 years into this, people are still just can't get it. They're like, they're sitting here, which screen am I sharing? I'm like, the one where you're saying that Cormac is being unreasonable because he's asking you to get something in the next week.
It's complicated though, right? I mean, how many times have you thought you were sharing a screen when you're only sharing a window, and you have to start resharing because you want to share it with sound, and like it's actually still way too complicated for all this stuff for a lot of people.
Well, I will say that Teams seems to hate me.
That's not bad.
When I'm in a Teams meeting, it seems to hate me because when I share my screen, it will let me initially share whatever screen. So if I wanted to share a screen with you, like that email from old Jake Cookson, fishing for some plans,
right? I
can show it to you, but then it essentially just freezes. Like on the moment that I share it, I can't scroll. I can scroll, and I'm like clicking through, and I'm talking to people,
anywhere.
And they're just like,
they're not seeing.
They're like, Cormac,
the latest version.
Cormac, you're talking about RCPs, but I'm still seeing a plan. And you're like, hold on.
So you have to stop sharing and reshare.
I've got
all over and over and over.
Stop share and reshare.
Oh,
but they can't see my pointer. They can't see, it's just a picture. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about.
Send some smoke.
So then I'm like, and so I'll have to say, does anybody else have this presentation open? Can they share the screen? Because, and then, I have people who are like, Cormac, it's been 3 years. Why can't you get this? And I'm like, I'm on my third computer and it still won't do this to me.
Wow.
Like it still like locks up.
Weird.
I have no idea. Teams hates me.
Can't we just do it on Zoom? That's the question.
Yes. That's always my question is like, everybody's just like, well, I can send out a Teams invite. I was like, no, I'll send you out a Zoom invite. It's just like, I always like race to send out the invite so that they don't like hit me with the Teams invite. Appreciate it, but I don't want it.
Me first.
Me first.
Well, I'm looking forward to what I can do with this thing and figure it out and see. I mean, I expect it'll be just fine. And this is a Windows 11 machine. I haven't been on Windows since Windows
Mhm.
8, maybe. Um, my wife has Windows 10 on her iMac upstairs on her Apple iMac so that she can run Revit, but
Yeah,
it's an older iMac. But so I'm not unfamiliar with Windows, but I do have to say Windows 10 is fine. Like
yeah,
it's absolutely fine. I don't have any
yeah,
problems with it. I can find what I'm looking for. I It's interesting nowadays switching too because so many of our tools are in the cloud, right? And
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so little software that you actually need to install where you could have potential problems or conflicts showing up. So I don't expect
Right.
to run into too many problems with it.
Well, if you need a refresher on how to install every version of Revit all the way back to 17,
No, terrible,
I'm your man.
terrible, terrible. Well, if I do have Windows questions, I do know how to ask. I know who to ask. That's you. You can
Cortina.
become my. Oh, there you go. I'll just
Do
do
they
that.
still call it Cortina?
Cortana, isn't it Cortana?
Cortana. Cortana.
Or
Sorry,
Cortina, isn't
but
that
do
a
they?
car? I don't know.
I think it is
It
actually.
might be.
I think it's actually a Ford, actually, a European Ford.
Right,
The Ford is
right, right. Look at that. Look at us. Uh, well,
bringing it back. Yeah, Windows and Ford.
there you go. Made in America.
They're very similar. And they're found inside dead.
What? Okay. Roadkill.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I mean, I will say, just sorry, I don't know why I just started thinking about this because we're talking about a Windows device, an actual Windows device, because for the longest time, Windows was just software,
Mhm.
hardware. It wasn't hardware; it was software, right?
Right.
Every other computer in the world ran this, and they've actually, and I'm gonna say it, they built a very competent machine,
Mhm.
and I think it's like the first time I really actually ever saw or thought of, or my first memory of a Windows hardware thing was the Zune.
Yeah,
The Remember the Zune?
I do. They had a really cool industrial design to them, right? It was,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't just mean like industrial design as in the discipline. But I actually mean like an industrial theme, like kind
right,
of chunky hardware, sharper corners, not like razor sharp, but
yeah,
definitely beveled, and they had a cool
yeah,
look to them, and it was very different than what Apple was doing with iPods back in the day, because the Zune was an
right,
iPod competitor, right? It was a music player,
yeah.
and it was a cool looking device that didn't last that long.
It couldn't compete. I mean, everybody was probably so invested into their iTunes store of all of the different things, their iTunes music, or they downloaded a CD and loaded it into their iTunes and stuff. And we used to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and when Apple put iTunes on Windows, I think that kind of sealed the
Yes.
deal, right? For the iPod to be the, yeah,
Yep, exactly.
yeah,
It totally.
right.
And then it was like the Zune next generation was the Windows Phone,
Mhm.
which again, carried a very similar design sensibility to what the Zune was, and was just, I don't know, it was I didn't think, I don't know how well they worked. I was never actually ever touched one, but the thing that
With a
just
10-foot
amazed me is
pole.
that exactly
Keep that
they
away
didn't
from
look
me.
that bad. I mean,
No,
if we're
they were good
judging
looking.
things on looks, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they really were.
Yeah, and then they kind of stayed away from hardware except for the Xbox, right? That was really their hardware
Yeah.
division for the longest time, and then they started getting back into computers. And we actually in the studio when I was at HMC, we had one of those Surface Studios, the big one, the big
Yes. Yeah.
27,
Yeah.
28-inch screen that would all in one computer that would pivot
That
down
was,
and
yeah,
it was really cool. It was really nice to
it
have a
was. It really
big
was.
screen that was like a drafting board. And actually I'm glad we kind of got full circle here, because isn't it interesting how you and I are of a certain generation of architects, right? Where we really did bridge from the analog to the digital. It was during
Yeah.
our formative years of architectural training and school and internships when, we still had CRT monitors back in the day, right? We still all used tower computers. There was no laptops that were worth anything at that point in time for the kind of software that we needed to run. And at the
Right.
same time, we still had studios that you had to do everything analog, or the teacher would say, yeah, okay, like, I guess you can do this in digital. We'll see how it turns out. And we had to kind of pioneer presentation techniques. We had to pioneer, how do you
Right.
get
Right.
this drawing out of the computer onto paper, when everyone else is buying a big sheet of Mylar and they're drawing it by hand, and it's no big deal to just draw right on the paper. If you're using a computer, now you have to solve that problem of like large scale output. You have to
Right.
find
Right.
somebody with a pen plotter, or find somebody with a large inkjet printer, and then if you wanted to go to reprographics, you had to solve a lot of different problems that the teacher,
Right.
no one was there to guide you, right? And so now here we are
Yeah.
with these dual purpose machines where we still want to draw by hand, but we need to communicate with somebody on the other side of the planet. And so you could just draw it and take a picture of it and send it. But we all know going through the drawing process with them watching is a
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
different level of communication. And I think it's just really interesting. Not that this is the only machine you can do that with, but I think it's just interesting. It kind of tells a tale of the generation that we're of,
Right.
to have machines that still kind of bridge the gap between analog and digital and communication style. And we see the value of that communication style, and we want to use it.
Right.
It is kind of our superpower at this point, right? Of being able to
Yeah.
draw by hand and communicate in that way.
Exactly. Because, like I said, today when we're sitting here and we're talking about a solution, everybody's like, well, you're not really sure this will work, and this and really, people were like looking at dollar signs. They were thinking about things, and so I pulled up the floor plans. I was zooming out. I was just like, remember now we're modifying this wall, so we have all of these sliders that we can repurpose all of these rather than sending them back. We can repurpose these. We can use this. We can create this little area, this like dressing, gowning area within this the lab space, out of basically repurposed, stuff that we have that we've already ordered. It's already on site. We're already waiting for it. They're just like, oh, we can't do this because if we put doors in there, we've got all these door swing, we've got all this door swing issue, we've got all this, we've got all that. It's gonna take up lab space and everything else. And I just, like the superpower is like, here I am. I'm like, thinking about all these things. I'm sketching them all out. Wanted to try to just like brain dump it out there, get everybody else's opinion. And at the end of the day, everybody's like kind of shaking their head. This might actually work, and it wasn't like, oh, let me go back to the office and sketch something up and send it out to you and all that other stuff. It's a real time conversation that I'm getting input on. And they're just, oh, and we could do this, or, oh, and like we're getting all of this stuff and everybody's like drawing on top of this. Everybody has access to sit there and like their finger,
Their mouse,
stylus or whatever,
yeah.
and just sit there and draw. I actually got really good at drawing with a mouse. Like sketching with a mouse.
I don't know how you did that.
I like to do it.
Yeah. I just don't even know how, because it's
Yeah.
funny. Like I heard this 20 years ago, like drawing with a mouse is like drawing with a brick. And I've never been able to disassociate that from it anymore. And so, I mean, I have a mouse right here too, because I need another button sometimes. Right. But even the trackpads have gotten so much better, and the software has done a lot to make it like once you scroll to the side, you're just like, this mouse doesn't work anymore for me. I can't scroll to the side with this mouse, but it is still useful to have. for for
as a
CAD work.
as a lefty who uses the mouse in the right hand, pencil in the left hand, I actually am like writing and clicking and just trying to do things, multitasking with both hands and everything else. So I have never gotten away from the mouse. Like anytime I get a new device, whether it's me going and getting an upgraded mouse or anything else, I have to get a mouse. And I have to get the old traditional kind of
symmetrical
version mouse.
Right.
I can't use the ones that are like stationary with like the little roller ball on it or all these. I've never been able to work. I know people who have them. There's this one guy in the office that has this like really wacky, it looks amazing. I have absolutely no idea how it functions.
There's some pretty wild devices out there. Yeah.
Dude can zoom all over the place, like nobody's business with that thing. And I'm just like, I talk with my hands, I move and all this other stuff. So I guess it's just a translation of how I am is how I work. And if my hands aren't moving, then I don't feel like I'm working or I'm doing things because you move.
To express yourself with your hands. He's a hand talker.
I got to talk.
He's the hand talker. Yeah. I don't need a mouse most of the time, and the reason why is because I have a laptop and I want to use it like a laptop. I don't want to use it like a desktop. So I want to move around the house. I want to go to the coffee shop. I want to take it with me and put it in the backpack, and I don't want that extra device that I have to then hold on my knee while I'm sitting on a chair in the airport.
Oh no,
to do what I want to do. So you have to get proficient with a trackpad. And all of the
I use
that is one of the cool things that came from the phone back to the computer, right? Which was the multi-touch, the gestures, and all that kind of stuff. And that the trackpads have really enabled that kind of interaction to get back to the laptop.
I will definitely say that I'm glad that PCs ripped off, the Mac trackpads,
the big glass trackpad,
because it's like using 2 fingers, 3 fingers, swiping, pinching, all of this other stuff. PCs didn't do that.
Right.
For the longest time, PCs never did that.
Right.
And when Windows started doing it, they're like, let's see if we can rip this off. And they did, thankfully, because it does actually make it easier. If I do want to be mobile, if I want to go like sit downstairs or go to a coffee shop or something, I can't actually do all of that without taking the mouse and dealing with the mouse. Now, do I like it? No.
Yeah, everyone's on that spectrum, right? I would prefer not to use a mouse, but there's certain applications like Rhino or Revit. You got to use a mouse, right? And you might even want you might even want like a 3D navigation, space navigator kind of space mouse thing to orbit and do all, pan and I got one around here somewhere, but it's put away at the moment. But like you can, you use your right. I will use my right hand because I'm a righty for the mouse for clicking, inputting, but my left hand, you have your pencil in. I can have a space mouse in, and I'll be using that to orbit and zoom and pan with. So I can operate a 3D model in a much faster, more efficient way, and just without having a hand on the keyboard all the time. Which, if someone's a gamer, they're totally used to that, right? They like my kid upstairs has got his fingers glued to WASD, right? Like that's he always talks about that. So that's the only reason I know about that. But he's using keyboard shortcuts to move through space and he's using his mouse to look around. So you're using a two-handed kind of a situation to move through space.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm sorry. Joystick gamer.
Oh. Atari 2600.
Exactly.
They just re-released. Have you seen this? They have a new Atari 2600. It's like $200, and all of the original games are on one cartridge. But it still will use the old cartridges. It'll still take all the old cartridges.
Okay, so we have a version that they sold that it's basically the body of the Atari, but it doesn't have cartridges.
Oh, okay.
And it still has the wireless joystick, just like the Atari, and it's preloaded with like 800.
I'm
however
gonna
many
pull it
games.
up here. I'm gonna look for it. Atari 2600, like a reissue. Um, they just came out with this. Let's see if
Hmm.
I can find it. 1 month ago, Atari 2600 official announcement trailer. This is what. Yeah, so it's like rebranded as the 2600. And should I don't really need to share my screen, but the idea here is it looks and feels just like the old one, the original 2600. If you don't know what the Atari 2600 is, and you've seen it for sure, but go ahead and we'll put a link to it in the show notes so you can find that, but look it up. And this is called the 2600 Plus. And basically it's a recreation trying to be as original as possible, except there are more modern innards and the joystick, I guess, is probably going to last longer. Like I remember them wearing out, like the little buttons that were underneath the joystick would wear out after a while because we played them so much. But now I guess it'll play 2600 and 7800 games that have been released over the last 50 years. So you can actually still plug your old cartridges in, and it comes with a cartridge, and I don't see it in this one. Look at this. You can get the CX30 paddle controller with a 4-in-1 multi-game cartridge. It's available for $39.99. So the games on that will be Breakout, Canyon Bomber, Night Driver, and Video Olympics. So you can get all those on one cartridge.
I was gonna say, I never played any of those.
Right. It was like Space Invaders and Pong and Breakout, and there was some cool
Cuber
thing. Right. Yeah. So anyway, this is a reinvention, a reissue of / reinvention of the original. It's pretty cool.
So one that we had back in the day was Intellivision.
Oh, I remember that one. There was quite a few different kind of competitors out there, right? There was ColecoVision. Sega had something. Can't remember what that was called.
There's just so many television that there was just like Intellivision. And if you ever look it up, since you were just looking it up and look up the I'm looking at one that they're selling on eBay only at $99. But you look at the controller and you're like, how did we even play games with those controllers?
Right.
Totally.
I remember this one. It looks so 70s. Like it looks more 70s. Yes. It looks older than 70s, actually. It looks older than the 2600 because it actually had like a number pad on the controller. Besides the dial you turned, you had a number pad there as well.
Azatron. Oh, the 1981.
So fun.
You could play, let's see, what are some of the games? Armor Battle. That's Roulette. Space Battle, which is, the cheap version of Space Invaders. Right. Ooh, Math Fun, because those two words go together well.
Because that's the only great game your mom would approve.
I will say that, so I played checkers on that thing till like I was blue in the face and play against the computer and stuff. And it served me well because when I was in the Army, we were deployed. We were out in the desert and people were wanting to play checkers and they would always, try to dethrone me because I was beating everybody. I was just like, man.
It all goes back to the Intellivision.
Intellivision.
Look at video games. Video games taught you something. Great.
It did. It's funny. I could hustle on checkers.
Awesome. All right. Well, if anybody has any killer apps for me for this machine, you included, since you've already been using it for like a year, I'm open to hearing about it. I'll take anybody's advice.
Why don't you go ahead, and the buzz amongst all the kids nowadays is, oh my gosh, Adobe seats are way too expensive. We need to find something else.
Right.
So they've been there's a whole new suite of I call them Adobe knockoffs, whatever you want to call them,
Mhm.
but it's Affinity, and it's Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, Affinity
Layout, I think they call it.
I don't know, Affinity Publisher,
Publisher.
Affinity Designer, and Affinity Photo. And I was just looking at my desktop to see which ones they were, and I was just, for the first time, we've had it. I've had them on my machines now for like a couple of years, and it's the first time I actually open. And because they are trying to capture the Adobe crowd at a discount price, shall we say?
I think you just mean a reasonable price.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what it is.
Yes,
It's a
Yes.
reasonable price.
Where you could probably get an entire office worth of subscriptions for the price of one or two Adobe seats.
We were looking at doing that when I was at HMC, switching everybody out over to the Affinity suite. Affinity Publisher wasn't out yet, it was out, but it couldn't read InDesign files, and I still don't think it can, but
it can't. No, it can.
can it?
Can
Okay. So,
Yep.
man, it's way cheaper. I mean, these firms are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on Adobe, and it's insane.
It's way cheaper.
Yeah.
And InDesign itself is such a memory hog that I've been using Publisher, which is the Affinity version of InDesign, and it makes everything. There's a lot of similarities to it in how you work and how you do your workflow within InDesign, and it's lighter. It's lighter. It moves faster.
Yeah. That's actually a
it
big
doesn't
deal.
bog your machine down.
I remember talking to them specifically, the Affinity folks, and they were just showing the difference between opening a Photoshop file and opening an Affinity file. Like if it was Affinity Photo, an Affinity Photo will open a Photoshop file and it will take a while, but as soon as you save it as an Affinity file and then reopen it, it's a fraction of the amount of time. And so if you just wanted to make a case, and architecture, people who work in architecture, they know exactly what this is like. Open a Revit file. How long does that take?
45 minutes.
Open a 1.5 gig Photoshop file, right? They get that big. They do. You get tons of layers, and the resolutions are so high. You've got 50 layers in there. You've got typography. You've got layer effects. You've got nested layers and masks, and really complicated compositing going on. How long does that file take to open? Multiply that by how many people open how many files a day, and tell me how much time you bill for time, right? Tell me how much time you're spending opening and saving files. And it's like, wow, the math is insane. And so multiply that times 200 people who are doing production in the firm, and let's talk about how much time people are wasting, and we're spending $200,000 a year on Adobe, right? It's like, it becomes a no-brainer to say, we need to look at another solution. And Affinity's saying, hey, it takes 3 seconds to open that file. It takes you 20 minutes over there. That's a big deal. Yeah. And it costs less, and it's perpetual. And you can use it on your Mac and your iPad and Windows computer for the same license. You don't have to buy separate licenses for all that stuff. And it's like, and then you know what happens? We don't do it because everybody knows how to use Photoshop already.
But
I know they're very similar, but that's the argument. That's actually where it actually breaks down.
Exactly. As literally somebody who just opened it up, because I'm one of those people. It's like, don't take away my Adobe.
I'm a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
And
I open it up and I'm like, like I could do exactly what I do here,
What's funny is like architects use Photoshop to a certain degree that is not professional Photoshop. It's like you do these 5 things in Photoshop. You open the file, you might move a layer, you might add a layer, you might crop it, you might resize it, and then you save and you're done. But, and it's actually no different for any of that stuff. It's the same.
Yeah. I used to draw, but this was before Illustrator came out, but I used to draw in Photoshop. I did all sorts of like things that, most people weren't using Photoshop for. In fact, actually, a lot of the editing and post editing and, redrawing and all of that other stuff that I did for my professor's book. He was doing the second edition and he was like updating things, or he was revising, certain kind of like graphics or something that he did, or if I was drawing brand new graphics, but they needed to match the old graphics or old drawings and stuff. I would use Photoshop as a way to kind of match and mask and do all of these things. And I'm pretty good at using it as a drawing tool as much as a photoshopping tool.
Yeah.
I will say the one thing that I don't know if Affinity has, that I do rely on, and I rely mostly on my phone, is Lightroom. Love Lightroom.
Yeah, no, they don't try to compete with Lightroom. But you've got the photos.
Yeah. Photos app still doesn't do some of that.
No, it's not a pro level, but it is it's got most of the stuff. But yeah, not everything.
Yeah. There are some things, like if I want to, fix the geometry of taking a picture of a building and it's slightly askew or something like that, and I want to change it so that it actually looks vertical.
I'm opening it up right now. I'm pretty sure that's in there.
It sort of is, but not to the...
If you go into the crop tools, you have vertical and horizontal perspective fixing.
Yeah.
Real-time follow-up.
But, still saying that, looking at for light to pop up. There are just some, when you go into geometry, there's like all of the upright, distortion, vertical, horizontal, aspect, scale.
I love those tools too.
Offset, Y offset, yeah.
But you don't have. The only reason you have Lightroom is because you're not paying for that subscription yourself. Are you?
Damn right. Damn right. And so when they're like, hey, we need your license back for Adobe. Hopefully nobody from IT is listening to this, but they're like, can we? And I'm like, oh no, but I need to do this or this. It like, I don't like. They're like, oh, are you using? And it's just like, oh well, I'm, And then I admit, I'm like, hey, I'm using like Lightroom and all this other stuff. They're like, oh well, we've got standalones for that here. You can use this one instead. I was like, thank you.
For a long time, when Adobe switched over to subscription, they offered Photoshop and Lightroom for $10 a month, which is still a lot of money every year. It's $120 a year, right? It's like, that's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more than I was paying with my perpetual license, which I paid off several years ago. And then it went to $20 a month for the photo bundle, and then it went. I don't even know what it is now, right? It's
Creative. It's Creative Cloud.
And it's super expensive.
Creative Cloud, there's certain super expensive.
Yeah, so
like
I don't know how
it
mortals
really is
pay for this kind of stuff, especially with inflation. It's absolutely insane, right? So your mileage may vary, but yeah, I just stick with a lot of the default apps if I can, because I can't afford to have all of those subscriptions everywhere for everything.
Yeah. And I will say that I also, since how we're on this kind of like, Adobe Kick or Kick Adobe or whatever you want to call it. But there are still people in my firm that when they're sharing their screen, they're like, oh, here, let me show you this, let me share this PDF, and they'll open it up. And I'm like, are you using Acrobat? And I'm like,
you call yourself a professional?
What is that? like
Acrobat needs to die. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, thank you, Adobe. Actually, the founder who like invented PDF, right, and therefore Acrobat, and just recently passed away. It's an absolutely incredible file format, technology, whatever. It's many things, but the Adobe implementation of it is great, especially for architecture. Like, I don't know how anybody can survive with Acrobat versus a tool like Bluebeam.
Yeah. Well, I will say that, it's funny is that Acrobat is trying to be like a Bluebeam Light. And I'm like, I don't want it to be a Bluebeam Light. I was like, there's so many things like add-ons, toolboxes, all of this other stuff that I can do. There's so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, please just stop.
Well, you're a
You-
professional
you've served your
PDFer. You're
purpose.
at the point in your career where you are a professional PDFer. Like you email, you PDF, you
I am.
Zoom. That's basically what you do on a computer at your stature and position,
At my age,
your role. Yeah, I didn't say that, but you did. So I'll roll with it. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting, right? How you go from these very technical CAD, 3D modeling, rendering, visualization, spatial, all that. You become a professional PDFer at some point.
is there a?
You need a merit badge in that,
Is-
sir.
I was gonna say, is there like it's like
Certification.
Cormac Phalen AIA, comma PPDF.
I think you could just put .pdf after your name, and people would know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
All right, I'm hitting stop. That was